It's time for another tier list!
This time we're going through all of the cycling themes from Pokémon. I know, but I love Pokémon music. Who doesn't love Pokémon music? Pokémon music has this great quality of being so formulaic that you can have a dozen pieces of music written across a 30-year span that are all trying to achieve basically the same thing in the same in-game context. These themes make for perfect comparison videos, and hopefully you get some juicy music theory tidbits out of this alongside the simple satisfaction of watching a YouTuber rank order items. So, let's get into it. The original red and blue cycling theme is very charming. Everything about it is bright and chipper, but there are a few cool compositional things that are snuck in there under the unassuming exterior. The original Pokémon soundtrack took a lot of direct influence from classical music, and the bouncy Alberti bass accompaniment, or breaking up the notes of the chord in this particular pattern, is pulled straight out of a Mozart piano sonata. Combined with the simple harmony and pleasant melody, the style of accompaniment lends the music an innocent quality, not unlike one of Mozart's themes. The thing that I like most about this piece is the counterline. The melody has a really nice shape. We get a clear statement that asks a question and then a following statement that answers it. The melodic rhythm is quickened to one bar a phrase rather than 2 bars to build momentum leading into the closing statement, which draws itself out an extra bar from the standard form to create a clever 9-bar phrase. And at every point in this journey, the counterline is written thoughtfully to enhance the melody. The rhythmic spaces in the melody line are filled in by the counterline, but it backs off when the melody gets rhythmically busy, creating a sort of call and response back and forth between the 2 voices. I also like the back and forth between the 1 and 2 chords. It has the same sense of peacefulness as switching between the 1 and 4 chords, but it seems a little more playful to me. Highlight! I love how these big quarter note triplets come in towards the end and clash rhythmically against the other voices, creating a big dramatic build that releases into the same drawn-out 2-bar 5 chord that ended the first half of the piece. Low light. There's really nothing to criticize with this piece. I think it's really tough to write something this interesting using only such simple and innocent elements, but it doesn't reach the emotional heights of some of the later installments. A tier. Gold and Silver cycling theme makes use of the same Alberti bass accompaniment and straightforward melodic approach to achieve a similarly innocent and cheerful attitude. The 2-bar intro is a perfect way to kick off the piece. We get all the forward momentum we would want for a biking theme, while keeping things cheerful and simple. The counterline this time is a continuous stream of 8th notes, losing some of the conversational aspect of the last theme, but the little chromatic runs under some of the chords adds a lot of goofy personality to the music. I also like how the melodic rhythm changes between the 2 sections. It starts off quarter note based, but moves into a tresillo rhythm for the second half, creating 2 distinct sections without any need to change up the harmony or accompaniment. I like how the counterline builds up under the second half, starting off laying down quarter notes but speeding up into an 8th note line when the phrase repeats. It creates a nice crescendo under the repeated phrase. Low light. I think the first game's harmonic approach was a little more interesting. Here we have all 1, 4, and 5 chords, which certainly has the childlike simplicity you might want from a bike theme, but the trading 1 and 2 chords from the first theme got at that same purity, but gave it a bit more richness. There's just not that much going on in this one, so B tier. You want a cycling theme to evoke the carefree, innocent fun of childhood bike riding with enough forward momentum to capture the new level of speed your character's just been given. The first two generations managed this, but Ruby and Sapphire's theme adds on a spirit of adventure to the mix that takes the music to a whole other level. The melody is simple and strong. A walk up from the third to the fourth to the fifth in quarter notes sets the scene. Then this motif is expanded into a winding melody that deposits us cleanly on the second of the key. The structure of this phrase allows for no complaint, starting on the home chord and effortlessly bringing us to a non-tonic chord tone to finish, which is the formula for how to make a melody feel like it's telling a story. On top of this perfect structure, the simple motif we first established is cleverly transformed as the means of melodic travel through the phrase. This same phrase is repeated but altered to start by outlining chord tones of the 5 chord, A7, and then come to a close on a tonic chord tone, bringing our melodic story to a satisfying conclusion. A lot of the first generation Pokémon music that we know and love works so well because it's written with this attention to structure. Everything is built in a very classical way, and that gives it a sturdiness. But all of the other details of this arrangement, the counterlines filling in the spaces in the melody, the offbeat stabs giving us the chords, these little one-off fills, they all bring a ton of modern color and flavor to the tried and true melodic skeleton. Take this little figure cutting into the first space in the melody, which sounds like a bike bell. That is so cute and thematically appropriate. There are so many counterlines coloring each chord too. The 5th moves up to the 6th and the major 7th over the first D chord, and then the descending counterline under this E minor chord moves from the chord's root to the major 7th to the flat 7th to the 6th. The next A chord sees the 3rd move up to the 4th and then the sharp 4th, leading into this great little moment harmonizing the melody. There are so many fun details crammed in here. I normally hate the term ear candy, but I can't think of a better way to describe all of the delightful little figures bursting out of every bar of this piece. And don't even get me started on the B section of the tune, where we move from the innocent fun of a bike ride to something more emotionally rich. The go-to classic Japanese chorus progression, 4 to 5 over 4 to 3 to 6, always gets at this feeling of optimistic determination, but layering these harmonized sextuplet trills on top of it in the melody is just too much. This track is too hype! I'm going to get on my bike and ride it right into the sun. Highlight! It's gotta be that sextuplet trill in the melody, but there's an embarrassment of riches here.
Low light.
None! S tier! The first 3 games' rhythm took on a brisk oompa feel. The Alberti bass accompaniment pattern of the first 2 games emphasizes beats 2 and 4, as did Ruby and Sapphire's bassline, and this creates a rhythmic engine that pushes the music forward. This works well to portray the motion of riding a bike, but Diamond and Pearl's cycling theme switches it up with an emphasis on offbeats. The bassline hits the offbeats for a bar and then leaves every other bar wide open, the explosion of energy each time these offbeats hit, given space to disseminate into the music. The melody soars overhead with big, long held notes, and the chord jabs in the background accent a driving tresillo rhythm. All of these pieces together create an effect that's less like chugging away on your bike and more like pushing hard to get to the top of a hill and then coasting all the way down. I really like how different the structure is here than the previous entries. Rather than your typical 4 or even 8 bar structures, each melodic statement here takes a whopping 16 bars to come to a close, due to all of the wide held notes that give the music its carefree, coasting quality. The harmony is particularly juicy, every chord decorated with crunchy seconds or sixths to give the music a ton of color. Then, when we move into the B section, the music picks up dramatically. The melody abandons its long-held notes and goes for a much busier rhythm. The bass line fills in every bar with offbeats rather than every other bar, and the chords start changing every bar rather than sitting on each one for 4 bars at a time. Altogether, the loop has a very nice shape, gradually bringing up the intensity and then settling back down to get to the top of the form.
Highlight.
This sudden B minor chord on beat 1 of the phrase that resolves immediately up to the B major you were expecting is so delicious.
Low light.
I love the interplay between the different rhythmic layers, but basing the melody on these huge whole notes does slow down the pace of the theme a bit. A tier. Okay, to be honest, Black and White's cycling theme feels really underwhelming. Maybe it's because the other entries are just so strong, but everything about this one feels very boring to me. I think it's because the melody is just obsessed with the tonic. The melody resolves to the tonic note, E in this case, like every 2 bars, and the core motif that it seems to be playing with is this big leap up from a high tonic E down to the 5th, and then down another leap to the tonic E an octave below. It's like, yeah, we want these themes to feel cheerful and innocent, but there's no drama here at all. The earlier cycling themes adapted their melodic ideas into tonic and dominant forms to get a little push and pull without ever sounding dark, but Black and White's melody never leaves home plate. It really pales in contrast to the other themes we've just looked at. And maybe it would sound different coming out of the DS's speakers, but the balance of the flute melody against this heavy synth bass feels way off to me.
Highlight.
I do like this turnaround that gives us a secondary dominant to the 6 chord, which is immediately followed by a secondary dominant to the 4 chord. G sharp 7 to C sharp minor to E7 to A major 7 in the key of E major. That's a nice harmonic twist to take.
Low light.
This last C to D to E tag keeps repeating way past the point where I think, okay, yes, I get it. Overall, D tier. Pokémon X and Y's bike theme feels like it knew exactly what Black and White was trying to go for and completely nailed it. We have that same kind of driving rock groove underpinning the whole thing, and the same sort of pretty diatonic harmony with the same few colorful turns thrown in here and there, but listen to how much more interesting the melody feels this time around. This melody is not complex by any means, but it takes time to move away from tonic chord tones, and even refrains from giving us a resolution when we want one to give some momentum going into the next phrase.
Highlight.
The 16th note string run in the intro into these offbeat B-flat 7 sus chord steps is so sick, and it really sets the melody up for success when it comes in.
Low light.
While this is a much stronger composition than the Black and White theme, I still don't really love the direction. This kind of upbeat pop rock approach feels a little empty compared to the Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond and Pearl themes, and it also lacks the innocent playfulness of the Game Boy games. It's not offensive, and it's also not exciting, so I'll put this one in C tier. I don't know if I should even include this one. Pokémon Sun and Moon's equivalent of a cycling theme is actually a Poke Ride theme, and the country bluegrass piece that accompanies it does fit the vibe of jumping on a Taurus's back and riding through the wilderness, even if it doesn't sound anything like a cycling theme. I think this vibe has been done better in other Nintendo games, but also saying Koji Kondo did it better is kind of a brutal standard to hold a piece of music to. There are a lot of fun moments in this track. I do like when the initial melody comes back, but over a new descending bass line. It feels like coming home in a satisfying way and brings a lot of finality to this last section of the piece.
Low light.
I can tell that this harmonized flute run was going for a sort of bluegrassy guitar fill type thing, but it ends up sounding like circus music and kind of killing the vibe. You know what? Last time I gave Sun and Moon a bad score, but maybe I should appreciate that it's trying something different. It's not what I expected, but if you only ever try and deliver what people expect, then you run the risk of being boring. This game might deserve a little more credit than I'm giving it. F tier. Okay, I hope you enjoyed another Pokemon tier list. Let me know in the comments if you want another tier list, and if so, what you'd want it to be about. I'm always down for more Pokemon, but I've been thinking the next one should either be Final Fantasy battle themes, or maybe like Sonic the Hedgehog first level themes, or something like that. If you have better ideas, I want to hear them. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my Patreon, please, if you want to support the channel, and I will see you in the next one.